I'm not going to take a long time. I would that the church would find them a song and get ready if they want me to close. The preaching that we've heard has been good. Some of it stirred up my pure mind. Some of it stirred up my heart. Some of it stirred up everything about me. And that's good, though.
That's what it is.
That's good. That's the way it should be.
Like the
And,
pool where it gets stirred up.
But my thought was, as the brother was preaching in there, and maybe some of you heard me say something to him earlier and looked at him and said, "You're the one I was talking about." I've often inquired about a brother that I remember back years ago that was from up at the Mount Zion Church that used to be with and see him at different places, but I always had his name wrong. And it was Brother Don. And but even asked him sitting there and then again about that brother. They tried to figure out who it was, and it took me sitting down and looking at him for a bit. And it dawned on me, well, I guess that would be him. He's aged, I've aged, you've aged. And it dawned, and I just said, well, that's you, brother, that I was talking about. You ever done that before? You ever not saw someone forever and tried to figure him? I remember you, Brother Brian, years ago. He was a wild man back then, but I remember you. And, but time changes us all. And as the brother preached, though, about the young man that jumped in the water and didn't make it out, time for him was just very short. Very short. And there's a lot of people that you go to the cemetery, you go right up here on this one, on top of the hill, you'll come onto graves very short, you'll come onto them regular, and you'll look at the stones and you'll see some that didn't live very long at all. We've seen times lately like we've never seen in our life, and times that we never heard our parents talk about growing up because they had never experienced them. Some, maybe your grandparents, maybe would have experienced them and they talked to you about them. But mainly all that we have is history that's left behind about back in 1918 and how they dealt with the pandemic, the Spanish flu and things. And I was kind of shocked when I began to look into the history of it. Not a lot of difference than what they did back then. The biggest difference is they didn't have the technology that we have today. And but I was so shocked when there's a documentary that's on YouTube, if anybody wants to look it up, that they just come out with, that is on Pike County, the pandemic of 1918, and how they got along with it back then. And they did a lot of things, even put masks on their animals, some of them did. And I didn't see a lot of that this time, but even some of them put masks on their animals. I do know that they declared that some animals had died of COVID and things. But, they even went as far, and I know that a lot of people got mad at it and stuff this time, but they went for a while and they outlawed you going to church. They didn't outlaw church. They outlawed people gathering, and the grave diggers even slept in their huts at the graveyards at night because they were digging around the clock. We didn't see that this time. I stayed up a lot of times around the clock because of it, sometimes. But a lot of these different things that we saw, that maybe down through time, if they had modern technology, that they would have had a little bit more rest or something. But it was so sad. The man that was talking about, there's an old man on there that was talking. He was alive then, and he was talking, and he said one of the worst things that he remembers seeing was as he would go down the roads is to see the caskets, the coffins, we call it homemade coffins, stacked up, laid up on people's porches because they knew who was next to go, and they would have them ready. Sometimes it was families that would go. His mom and his little brother went within just 2 hours of each other with it. And so sometimes we think that we have it hard in life, and we really don't know just how bad it is. There's been people that has never saw anything but trouble and heartache in their life.
That's right.
And Job, when he was came to the point that he saw, and he was just tired of it. He said he cursed the day that he was born, that he came from his mother's womb. He said, if I wished he could have died. He said, if I would have died in my mother's womb, I could have been with kings and priests. Right now. Could have been enjoying it. But he had to, but it wasn't that way. See, we don't always get what we want, Brother Ryan. But there's one thing about it today that God has promised and dealt to every man and woman fairly. And that is that one of these days, as I said today, it can be better. It can be better. And it will be better. And it will be better today in this time that this brother was talking about. And I liked it how he said, I tell people a lot, I get on that. I guess it does. If there's anything that really gets under my skin, it's this doctrine of a rapture and kingdom here on earth and tribulations and things of that nature and stuff and things. That really bothers me. Now it fires my flesh and my spirit up. And because it's false, brother, and it's false, and it's telling people they're still going to have another opportunity when Jesus comes back. Why would we preach for people to get ready? Why would he even say to get ready? You know, I don't know much about a rapture, but I can sure tell you about a resurrection today. I can tell you, one, it's going to happen, and it's going to happen so quick. And today, and I'm going to tell you, I said today that every man, every woman, every saint, every sinner is going to know that sound when it goes off. And don't tell me. Somebody says, well, if they're not saved, they won't. Yes, they will. Yes, they will. They'll know it today, Brother Ronnie. To us, it will be joy. To them, it will be sorrow, because they know eternity shall roll with sorrow, hellfire, and damnation for them. But I want to say to you today, men and women, that why are you saying all that, Jason? I'll tell you, sometimes I don't know why I say what I say when I get up. I just let God take it, and I hope He'll go with it. And if He don't, then you will know it too, and I'll know it. If He does, it'll be good. And you know, it's just preach and repreach, Brother James. But you know, when I was thinking about when this brother was up and he began to talk about, he addressed the mothers there, and he began to say, don't quit talking to your children about going to church. And I liked what he said. We all been there. Church was always a good thing. It never was a bad thing. I always loved being around church people, even before I was saved. They were good people, Brother Jerry. And I wouldn't trade the way that I was raised for any amount of money. The young people today is going to be getting to miss out on so much good that we were raised around, and the stuff that we saw. Raised around people today that you knew really loved you, and you felt safe around them and things. And a lot of them's gone now, Brother Ronnie. But, you know, today my thought was when he was talking about that, and I found it here. You know, mothers are special people. And I'm not preaching no sympathy sermon, I promise you that. God bless me. Mothers are special people. And there's people today, when I was growing up, if I got sick, Dad didn't mean a thing to me, but Mom did. That's what wanted by me. That's just the way it was. And she could take care of things that Dad couldn't take care of. And you know, there came a time in my life that Mom's hand couldn't heal something that I had wrong with me. It took a higher hand than Mom's, and that was Jesus Christ today. But I want you to realize today that the beauties of a mother started a long time ago. In the Bible we find where that even Solomon was called one time between two women today to make a decision. The Bible says that, you know, there was these women, they were in the same camp together, and both of them had children. And the one woman, she overlay her child in the night and killed it. It died from that. I don't think she meant it. The Bible don't say that she meant it. But I don't think she did, or she wouldn't have done what she did. But it wasn't the right thing to do. And you see, she overlaid her child, Bo, and it died. And she, in that night, she found it that way. And she looked over, and she saw this mother's child that was there in its arms safe. And some way or another, she slipped that baby out of that mother's arms and put her dead baby right beside of her. And you know, when they woke up the next morning and they looked, they knew that the woman knew that wasn't her baby that had the dead one. But she knew today today that the other lady had her baby. So it had to go before Solomon today. And you know, when Solomon saw it in all of his wisdom today, he made a decision that I don't know that many would be able to make. I thought it was a pretty good decision because the outcome of it, he knew in his heart. God, you know why he knew in his heart that? Because God was leading. Solomon had already asked for one thing only, and that was the wisdom today. And he gave it to him. God told him, Solomon, I'll not only give you wisdom, but I'll give you anything else you want today. But Solomon just asked for one thing. He said, help me, Lord, to go in and out of your people. Give me wisdom to lead them and to guide them. You know, brother, today I know men, the first thing they'd ask for is $1 million. They'd ask for a lot of money, things that would fade away. Silver and gold just fade away, brother. But wisdom today will cause you to have a whole lot more today. And God told him, he said, Solomon, because you didn't ask for that, I'm going to give you that and even more. And today, you see, that's the way God works. That's the way he does. But he took them two women. There they stood before him. And they told their case. They told their case. And he said today, I'll tell you what, give me a sword. He said, give me a sword and I'll divide this live baby right here. He was going to cut it right in two. And he said, and give half to this woman and give half to this woman. Listen today. And I love how the Bible says that the mother today, there's a difference in a mother than a woman that just has a child. There's a big difference today. I'm glad that I have a mother, spiritually speaking so. And her name is Mother Jerusalem. And she's free with all her children today. Listen, and when he said, let's divide the child today, let's divide the child and give one woman half and the other half. The Bible says the true mother, what did she do? She cried out. Oh, no. Let that woman have my child. Just to keep it from being killed. And I'm glad today. Friend, I'm glad that the real mother cried out. And Solomon, in all his wisdom, he knew right then who the mother was. Not many would know to do that. Not many would know to do that. Today, so that's why our Jesus knows exactly what you need. He knows exactly what we need. And listen, he knows your heartaches. The Bible said, listen, today David said, Lord, you know my downsetting. You know my uprising. You go before me, Lord, and you know where I'm coming from and where I'm going. I'm glad that, tonight, listen, put your hand in one that knows about tomorrow. Put your hand in one that knows about whether or not you're going to get up tomorrow or not. Because if you don't get up, Brother James, you wait till right tomorrow. You wait till one that will never end. Young people, I want to say today that time has run out. This brother's already preached. I feel like if you asked me what time it was, I'd have to say it's the evening shave time. I heard the brother say it's getting dark out. Listen, not talking about this natural darkness or light, but it's getting dark. We're nearing down the time. Tonight, listen. Sometimes I can almost hear the waters running. It makes me want to go get in a hurry if you have that today. But I want to read to you just 1 minute talking about a mother. The Bible said, Ezekiel said, listen, I love, it said, and say, what is thy mother? A lioness, she lay down among the lions. Listen, nourished her whelps among the young lions. Listen, and she brought up one of the whelps, and it became a young lion, and it learned to catch prey. It devoured men. Listen, the nations also heard him, and he was taken into their pit. Listen, Brian, I'm going to tell you something today. I believe that lion was the lion that when John said, behold, the lion, the tribe of Judah, the root of David has prevailed. I believe it was that lion. Listen, today she said, and now when she saw she had waited and her hope was lost, and then you remember Mary when she was crying right there at the foot, she was crying, and listen, but Jesus stopped her and said, don't weep for me. Wait for your children. Today, listen, even he had enough care that he looked out for you and you. Is that all right? Brother, don't let me get lengthy. Son, Bud and Ken said, and he knew their desolate palaces. Brother, he knew their desolate palaces. Listen, oh friend, don't you ever worry. Jesus knows all about you. Listen, today, and he laid waste their cities, and the land was desolate, and fullness thereof. Then the nations set amongst him of every sign from provinces, and spread net over him, and he was taken into their pit. He knew, he already prophesied that, listen, he'd be whipped today, he'd be smote upon. Listen, he said, for this cause came the world, to this end was I born, to suffer and to die. You imagine that new brother Ryan, that was what happened to him while he was here. Tonight, but still he marched on, still he came on. Why did he do that? L-O-V-E, love, greater love, man. This and a man would lay down his life for his friend, and ye are my friend, if you do whatsoever I command you to do. Listen, you know what he's commanded us to do, Brother Randy? Very simple, very simple. Listen, he said, love one another as I love you. Listen, that's a love, brother. Listen, oh, tonight, listen, if we could truly do that, you'd see the house overflow. You'd see it come running. Boys, but I'm going to tell you something tonight. He said, I'm in. There'll come a time, the love of many will explode. And boys, we're in that time. I'm going to tell you something, church, and you can get mad at me if you want to. But there ain't no one been felt no more slacker than this old boy you look at. Listen, things hindered, and listen, today, but I'm going to tell you one. I need you, and you need me. We need the Lord, and He needs us. He wants us today, friend. Oh, men and women, why do you say that, Jason? We are to be on cloud nine, that we're back out and being able to go. This time, today, how many of us really thought, listen, and worried would we make it through the last 2 years? I'm going to tell you one. I know some that I talked to, they really worried whether or not they make it, and they didn't, Brother Cherry. I talked to some that swore, I don't think I'll get this, they'd say, and they did in time. Oh, but one thing stands assured, if you have Jesus, when your breath leaves your body, boys, you'll be able to say, farewell, vain world, I'm going home. I've heard of a city called Elvira. I'm on there by and by. Not because Mom told me I could, not because Dad told me I could, but because the blood of Jesus Christ. It's the sweetest thing I've ever had. Bless the name of my King tonight. I'm headed toward there, Brother Ronnie. And sometimes I get in a hurry, son. Listen, today I feel like the sun, time is coming down very, very nigh. Soon we're going to say farewell to him. But I'm going to tell you something, friend. If you have Jesus in your life, you'll be able to look up at His coming and say, here I am, Lord. I'm going with you. Somebody said, well, what if you're left behind? Friend, if you're left behind, I'm afraid, listen, it'd been better for you not to have been born. until them born. I'm not going to be left behind. God's not going to forget one. You know what He's going to look down here and see? You know what He's going to recognize? He's not going to recognize this time today your good works. He's not going to recognize your good things you done. He's not going to recognize anything fleshly. What's He going to recognize? Oh, the blood of His sweet Son that flowed from Calvary's mountain and flowed for the whole world today. Every man, every woman had wanted it, can have it. I'm prayed all week, Lord, I wish, and Brother James son, they laughed at this, but I said, Lord, I wish you blessed me to be able to preach like you once did when I was younger. And what do you mean, Jason? Why would you pray for that? Because I had a fire that you talked about, a fire that I wanted to see people turn to Him. Brother James, brother can beat you down sometimes. It hinders you. It hinders you. Oh, but listen, whether I come or whether I go, I want to see men and women turn to Jesus and come and say, I want to be with you today. I told them, I don't care about what church you go to. I don't care about, listen, what about this or that. But I care about hearing you say, I've been born again, and I've got Him, and I'm on my way. Brother, we've let ourselves out of a lot of blessings in this life, that we separated ourselves to where there ain't much more to be separated. Brother, the numbers is few. Now put it right where it's at. There's a few, Brother Jerry. You can't separate them much more. You do, and you ain't going to have no one. Listen, that's why I'm thoroughly convinced it's got to be just like the writer that said, as for me and my house, I'm going to serve the Lord. Let come what may, and I'm going to serve Him. And I'm thoroughly convinced if we do that, God's going to bless us beyond measure. Listen, God's going to take care of it all. God's going to take care of it all. He'll take care of you, Brother L.D., over at your little pretty church. I saw it this week. God, how pretty that little church house is. Listen, and how do you know that? Listen, because if He puts you there, He'll take care of you today. Is that all right? I believe there's been a lot of men standing where I now stand that's not been called to preach. Listen, and they've heard the line. Listen, and I believe there's a lot of churches where they sit now, not supposed to have been there, but they stay there and listen. But I want to tell you one thing. If God be the builder of the house, it will stand. It will stand today. And why do you know that, Jason? Because, boys, He said, if you build on that rock, a solid rock, your house will stand. Listen, and I'm glad that somebody said, well, what about the church today? How many churches is there? There's only one church. Listen, today, I'm part of it. I'm part of it. I have brothers. I have sisters. I've never met before. By the grace of God, I'm going to meet them some sweet morning, and we'll sing together. We'll shout together. Are you happy today? Are you happy today? I am, Brother James. I am. Glory, glory, glory to His name. Now let me finish, and we're going to close. The Bible went on to say, listen, and they put Him in award chains. They brought Him to the king of Babylon. Listen, they brought Him into holds that His voice should be no more. Listen, boys, oh boys, listen, that not be heard upon the mountains of Israel. Thy mother, listen to this, thy mother is like a vine in the blood. Listen, planted by the waters. She was fruitful and full of branches by reason of many waters, and she had strong rods, listen, and scepters of them that bare rule. Her stature was exalted among the thick branches. And it gets prettier, just 1 minute. Listen, I'm glad today that I'm part of this mother. What mother is this? Mother Jerusalem. Listen, the old church, she appeared in her height in the multitude of her branches, but she was plucked up in fury fucked up in fury. Listen, and she was cast down to the ground, and to the east wind dried up her fruit. Listen, her strong rods were broken and withered. The fire consumed them. Listen, and now she's planted in the wilderness. Listen, in a dry and thirsty ground. And fire's gone out of the rod and the branches. But what day will come to pass that she was ignited today? I believe that, brother, when the grace covenant began, when that blood began to flow, something came alive. When she went to the tomb, and she said, she looked in, the stone was rolled away. Listen, brother, he told him, it's all right to tear this down. And in 3 days, I'm going to get up again. How many of them thought, you're foolish today? But I'm glad two went to see. When they got there, the stone was rolled away. Who did he roll that stone away for? He rolled away the stone for you and me. This time, and when that stone was rolled away, when they looked, he wasn't there. This time, there was a voice told him, why seek ye the living in the tombs of the dead? This time, why? Being by that, he got up. I want to tell you something, Brother Don. Listen, somebody said, well, maybe someone stole him. Somebody stole him, maybe. I'm going to tell you what. Nothing stole him. Oh, he got up on love. And he's still walking on love today. He's still extending love. When he went to leave, he didn't stay here long after that, Brother James, but he had a plan. But when he went to leave, there were some that saw him, and I'm glad they did. But they were looking and watching him. This son, why stand you gazing, amen, the Son of Galilee, the same Jesus that you see, gone away. He is the same Jesus. He's coming back. How is he coming back? In likewise manner, on a cloud of glory. And I'm going with him. Oh, someone as big as you and me will get on that cloud and it won't bow it one bit. We can go with him. Men and women, I'm going to tell you what, with a heart full of love. Now listen, you are to get in a hurry today. Now listen, if you're not right, you need to get right. Listen, somebody said, what do you mean right? You need, listen, to turn it into Jesus and say, Lord, here's my life. I don't care if I don't wait to see tomorrow, Lord. I want you, and that's all that matters. If you never get feared of dying and going to hell, you'll never get feared and you'll never repent of your sins. Brother, heaven sounded good to me growing up, Brother Randy. Mom told me about it and all that. But when I got to where I was getting down to business with the Lord, heaven was the last thing on my mind. It really was, brother. I'm not lying. I was really scared of dying going to hell. I'd get on the school bus, Brother Clarence. I'd get on the school bus, son, and I'd put the coat. It was wintertime when God saved me. And I'd get on the school bus, and other kids around yelling and carrying on. But I remember I had one of them old coats that you could get up against the stove and it would melt, like you used to teach kids. But I put that coat right over my head. And even when all them kids was yelling and going on, I was under there crying my eyes out, saying, Lord, don't let this school bus wreck me and get killed. If it does, I'm going to hell, Lord. Me knowing that, Brother Jerry Mans. Just some laughs at that, maybe. Some thinks that might be funny. But I was that concerned about it. I was that concerned. And you'll have to be that concerned. You'll have to be that. I would sit in the classroom and look out the window, scared to death that the cloud may break open and he may come back and I wouldn't be able to get on it. Now, brother, that's how real it was to me. How real are we making it today to your children and grandchildren? It's real today. It's real. Ron has been with me when I've just about wrecked and killed us. And, I've often wondered many times how did I go home. Sometimes driving. God's been with me. I've traveled many miles since I got my license. Coming up the road that we came last night from Ashland, Kentucky up here. I'd been on that road in a long time. Listen, it was a long road, and I thought, Brother Ryan, I remember the day I got my driver's license. And I'm going to tell you, this is how much difference there is in kids today.
If you will.
You remember it. Tell you this, we're going to sing, Brother Albert, promise. When I was 16 years old, I got my driver's license. It was on a Friday. Now, you look at your children, you look at your grandchildren today. Those of you that have them at 16. When I got them, I went home and I'm going to tell you what I was working to get my license for. I wasn't working to get them for to go out and to party and all that. I was getting to go to church.
Yeah, you started young.
And I got them today, Brother James, and it's just as soon as I got them, I went home. Mom was at work, Dad was over in the field working on a car. I got some clothes together. I chewed two in the back then, I didn't dip. I grabbed my two in the back. Got my car and had my first car. And I got on the road and coming down here to Floyd County. No cell phones. I left Mom and them a note on the bar. I was going to church the weekend, going down to Brother Freddy's. And got down here just in time. And Jerry was a lot younger then. I don't know how old he was. No. Got down here and he said, there's a funeral up at Enterprise. And Brother James Hackett said, bring you up, let's go. So I got in the car and went. We went up there. And it was, got back and that whole weekend went to church and Sunday evening came and I got my car and went back home. And you look at 16-year-olds today, parents wouldn't let their kids hardly go down the road. And I never thought nothing about it. I thought that's what I was supposed to do. And kept on going that way, brother. Kept on going that way. But I don't regret 1 mile that I traveled with the Lord. But you know, when I stepped in that car, Brother LD, and got out in the car and drove down here, first time, I never realized that in all of my heart, and all of my love for the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and all of my joy that I was having and looked forward to, would sometimes there is some man that's ready to kill all of that.